Hello and a warm welcome back to the channel of nonsense and the new Chinese SUV that's here to kick the establishment firmly in the ghoulies before running away giggling. It's the Jaecoo 5. It's Jaecoo's smaller SUV after the 7, and it's designed to be a rival for the Volkswagen T-Roc, the Kia Niro, the Hyundai Kona and the Evoque, which it looks very similar to. We're going to find out if it's any good and if it's here to actually rival the established mainstream. Let's go. Now, as my first lover said to me, don't worry about your looks, we'll talk about costs first. £24,500 gets you a Jaecoo 5 with a petrol engine. If you want the electric version like this, £27,500. But if you want the luxury model, which is the top spec one, that switches to £27,500 for the petrol, £30,505 for the top spec electric one, which is what we have here. So if you look at its rivals, it's about £8,000 cheaper than all of them, which is just ridiculous. But yeah, let's talk about the looks. Right, in terms of looks, you actually get a completely different face depending on whether you get the electric version, which is actually called the Jaecoo E5, or the petrol version. I'll stick some shots in of the petrol version with its very Range Rover grille, and that is sort of the vibe of this car. It does look a bit like an Evoque, let's be honest. You get LED headlights only on the luxury model, but you get these daytime running lights on all of them. And yes, with the electric version, the grille is filled in, and because people might not realise that you've got an electric car with a green number plate, it says BEV there, just to remind everyone of the name of your old dinner lady at school. But yeah, white is the free colour. This blue is going to be 500 quid, and all the other colours are 500 quid. If you want two-tone with the black roof, that's £1,000 on top of it. But yeah, it looks like a Range Rover Evoque that's had bits done to it, and that doesn't change around the back, as we'll find out in a minute. But first I'm going to show you the side and talk about some clever features that this has, because in typical Chinese car style, it's got all of the equipment and some drawbacks. In terms of length, the Jaecoo 5 is 12 centimetres shorter than its bigger brother, the Jaecoo 7. So this is just under 4.4 metres long, making it roughly the same size as a Nissan Qashqai. Now, if you get the electric version, you get roof rails, but on the entry-level model, the Pure, they're non-load bearing for some reason. It's only when you upgrade to the luxury trim that these become load bearing, and you can stick 75 kilos up there. And Jaecoo's really pitching this car as a family, outdoorsy, pet-friendly car. So we'll see inside. Apparently the leather's all pet-friendly, and there are some interesting modes, including a camping mode that lets you ruin the peace and quiet on campsites, and I'll show you how in a second. But there are some flaws with this car. This car's only got 300 miles on it, and the paintwork has got lots of swirl marks in it already, so that looks quite soft. And also, very, very tinny door openings, not very Range Rover. Okie dokie, inside the Jaecoo 5, the E5 in this case, you get a 13-inch digital display in the middle with wireless CarPlay and Android Auto. A bit of a fiddle to use like the one in the 7. If you actually want to change the driving settings, it's a bit of a mess, to be honest. But when you're just navigating and getting on with your life, it's okay. You can swipe down from the top to set shortcuts for things like the speed limit warning and so on. You get a little 9-inch digital dashboard there, which is actually clearer than the one in the Jaecoo 7. There's less info on it, smashing you in the eyeballs all the time, and you can control it using some of the buttons on the steering wheel. This beats the Jaecoo 7 into a cocked hat because it's got a physical door mirror control there coming back, thank goodness. You've got a wireless charger there on the left and just a place to rest your phone on the right. This little box here is going to be a black hole on YouTube, but it's a refrigerated black hole. The glove box is a decent size as well, and material quality of all the things you touch is quite nice. There is a rattle from this door, however. Now, this is top spec luxury model, so it's got a Sony sound system. It's also got a class leading panoramic sunroof. I'm sitting in the back seats and it goes way behind my head, which is very nice. You also get heated and ventilated front seats on this luxury model as well. Now, there are some interesting things that I've not seen before in cars. One of which is that camping mode. So you can Bluetooth a microphone to this car. I can't believe I'm saying this. And you can do karaoke, and it plays out of a speaker in the front bumper. My idea of camping is running to the hills and escaping reality and not having people singing at me from their cars, but whatever, some people like it. And it will also play whatever music you choose to play through Bluetooth in the car outside the car. So be careful if you've been watching dodgy things on your phone and you accidentally start broadcasting that to a campsite, because that's a good way to get arrested. There's also a pet mode for the aircon, so you can set the aircon on a timer and it shows on the screen that the aircon is on and your dog is safe in the car, a bit like in a Tesla. But yes, that's pretty much it. I forgot to mention as well that that camping mode with the microphone has adjustable reverb. My days. But hey, look, the steering wheel's got some cool patterns on it, and it does feel quite nice in here, although a bit dark and gloomy given where I've parked it. But anyway, that's the interior of the Jaecoo 5. This bit's gone on a little bit too long, but it mostly feels quite nice in that sort of pleathery sort of way. It looks nice as well. If you hop in the back of a Jaecoo 5, you'll be greeted with lots and lots of legroom. I'm 6'3", and that is my driving position, and just enough headroom in the back as well. I don't even touch the roof when I lean all the way back, despite this having a big panoramic sunroof, which normally cripples headroom. Footroom though, well, there isn't any. There isn't any. Otherwise, there's a flat floor. The middle seat is a reasonable width as well, and you've got a 3-point seat belt for the middle seat as well. The Isofix covers are nice and easy to get to. The doors could open a little bit wider, to be honest, but you can still get child seat in. Big door bins there. You've got a single USB-A for charging stuff down there, and that sunroof does make the world of difference in terms of brightness as well. That's slightly normal scratchy plastic with a little bit of leather and blue stitching on the doors, and the window line isn't too high, so your children won't feel sick. Now, I forgot to mention there's something like 16.8 million different colours of ambient lighting that you can have in this car. I'm not joking, they got the intern to count those. You got some seat back pockets there as well. But you know, it's pretty spacious back here, to be honest. Not bad at all. Now, I'm going to be kind and say that the Jaecoo design team has taken some strong inspiration from other models, namely the Evoque and the Range Rover Sport. I think these are very, very Range Rover. The EV badge actually looks like the EV bit of the PHEV badge off an old Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV. But whatever. You get a 540-degree camera on these. I don't know how they've invented more degrees. It goes up and down, I guess. Electric boot is only on the luxury model, but whichever one you get a pretty whopping 480-litre boot with this adjustable boot floor, which you can raise up to remove the load lip entirely. Look at that, nice and flat. Got a little net area there and there. You've got a 12 volt here as well and some hooks. The only thing is, when you take this out to lower it, you do see a lot of wires, which I think would probably be hidden on a European car. And there's a space under there for your charging cable as well. It's a reasonably big space. Okay, time for some Chinese flap chats. Look at this, motorized flaps. We love them, don't we, until they stop working. But in this electric one, you've got a 61 kilowatt hour usable battery, 207 horsepower motor on the front axle, and an on-paper driving range of 248 miles. Now, the fast charging for this battery isn't class leading, it's 80 kilowatts. So a 30 to 80% charge takes about 27 minutes. Normally, you say 20 to 80%, so there's some numbers being fiddled with there to make it look more impressive. If you don't want the electric one, you get a 1.6 turbocharged petrol with about 140 horsepower and a dual clutch gearbox. 0 to 60 on that is about 10 seconds, on this is about 8 seconds. There we go. That concludes motorized flap chat. Okay, we're going to go for a drive in the Jaecoo E5. Hang on. Sounds alright from inside. From outside, that sounds horrible. Now, I want to just quickly try and show you the camera that you get when you indicate, because you kind of get an outside view of the car, like in the Jaecoo 7. That is quite cool. I just don't know how helpful it is, given you're meant to be looking at the road when you're driving. But anyway, you get in, there's no on-off button. You just pull the stalk down into D with your foot on the brake and the car comes alive. And off you go. Now, in terms of the basics, the visibility, it's pretty good actually. The back corners have got an extra window, but the real rear corners, blind spots are pretty bad there, but that's the same as every modern car because of crash safety regulations. Now, my first impressions of this are somewhat influenced by the fact I drove down here in a Jaecoo 7 hybrid, and that is not a well-sorted car to drive. It doesn't ride properly, it never settles down, and it's just a bit wandery at high speeds. Getting into this, I think it might be the extra weight of the batteries, this feels a much more put together car. The steering responds much better, it weights up nicely, and also, yes, it's a slightly heavy EV, but the ride's better as well. It's just more fluid, more tied down. I feel like Jaecoo has already iterated and made their cars feel more European. I'll take these ridiculous things off so you can actually see my face, but now the car can see my face and it will have a go at me for talking to you, not looking outside. So Jaecoo's ADAS systems, I don't like them. They're too intrusive. It tells you to look at the road even when you are, and the lane assist is yes, pretty fascist, to be honest, but this does seem slightly better. There are still too many bongs going on, telling me about things that I've spotted, like changes in speed limit, goats in the road, and things like that. Now, let's check out performance. 7.7 seconds to 60. It's pretty fast, but as you heard there, lots of scrappy tyre squeal when you put your foot down, like a bit of a yobbo. The brakes feel nice and normal. There's no weird lump between the physical brakes and the regenerative brakes. I've yet to find a way to adjust the brake regeneration. There are no paddles here, and there doesn't seem to be a B mode either. I can guarantee you there will be one, but it will be buried in the system. And when you go into the system, your eyes are down here for ages trying to find things in the menus, then this bongs at you saying you're not looking at the road, and you just get a bit frustrated if you're me. But yeah, so far driving this electric version has been quite normal. It feels much like any of its European rivals, save for the amount of bonging, and some of them are pretty bad at that as well, to be honest. Now you can set shortcuts, so you can swipe down from up here and you can say, I want to turn the speed limit warning off or the lane departure warning, so that's easy enough, and there are voice commands as well. I'm just going to nip past this tractor using my electric power. It's got a reasonably soft throttle response, which is quite nice. There is a sport mode which sharpens things up in terms of when you put your foot down, it absolutely belts it and does more tyre squeal. At high speeds, it's reasonably refined as well. There's perhaps a touch more road noise than I would have liked and a bit more wind noise. But yeah, this feels like a generational step above the Jaecoo 7 that I drove down here in. Now, I'm still not going to say it's perfect. There are still moments where the steering doesn't feel quite right and the suspension is jiggling you a little bit, and this ends up frustrating you, but they fixed the basics. You don't get distracted looking for how to change the door mirrors through menus and things on the steering wheel. They've just gone with physical buttons. Did forget to mention you've got storage space down here as well. You're not going to be able to see it, but there's a 12 volt under the center console as well for chucking stuff. This is pretty good. Now, I've only been driving from morning really, off and on. Efficiency has averaged 3.4 miles per kilowatt hour, which is not great, to be honest. That's going to give you about 200 miles of real world range rather than the 250 or so that is claimed, but it's kind of par for the course, to be honest. It's just a shame that the fast charging speed isn't up to snuff compared to its European rivals. But hey, I'm driving around in an EV that costs £30,000. Like, show me an EV of this level of kit from a European manufacturer for anywhere near this price and this size as well. Obviously, you can't do it. Yeah, it rolls a bit in corners, but nothing egregious. It's just the bongs. The bongs, the bongs, the bongs. Not as bad as that Leap Motor C10. Anyway, I'm going to jump into the petrol one of these now to see if it feels any different without the extra weight of the batteries. I think the suspension might feel quite a bit different, so I will report back. You have been distracted. Please focus on driving. Well, I was, but I was trying to get the dashboard to show me what I wanted to see. So maybe I was distracted. Right, we're now in the petrol Jaecoo 5. So we've got 1.6 litre turbo, 140 horsepower, and a 7-speed dual clutch transmission, and feels okay. Feels okay. The engine's a little bit vocal when you boot it, but that's fairly normal. Sitting at 50, it's just hushed in the background, and there's no way to manually change gears or anything like that. I haven't got any paddles. It's just forget about it. The engine is there to do your bidding and it will do it. But anyway, I just want to chuck it down that twisty bit of road to see what the ride and handling are like and see how different it feels to the electric version. I'm sweating. That is different to the electric version. Can I have some cooled seats? I've got to press the fan button, then seats, ventilation. There's probably a way to add a shortcut, but I'm not that clever. What shortcuts are there? ISS. Oh, that's intelligent stop start, not International Space Station. Auto hold, ESC off, hill descent control, atmosphere light. Oh, it's gone away. It's gone away. I didn't touch anything. That's good, I suppose. So it goes back. Lane keeping assist, lane departure warning. Lots of lane departure stuff. Jaecoo's very keen on keeping you in your lane. Okay, steering in this petrol one feels pretty much as good as in the electric one. There's a slight bit of a extra artificial weight around the centre at the top, but that's not unusual. The ride, I have to report, is pretty good in this as well. It's nice and settled. In the Jaecoo 7, review coming soon or already up, it's always pitching. It's always doing this. Whereas this feels like a much more stable platform. So yes, well done Jaecoo. You have made a small SUV that does ride a lot better than your old one, which is slightly damning with faint praise. But this is much improved. Still probably not perfect, but it is still set up for comfort. But it's just not crashing all the time. It's not going like this. I think maybe one of the reasons this does feel like a much more sorted car to drive than the 7 is that Jaecoo is now setting up the suspension at their tech centre in Germany, supposedly. So I think this has probably been better tuned for European roads. For £27,000, this is a top spec petrol. The amount of kit with a really, really acceptable driving experience now, the amount of space, it's quite compelling. Yeah. I've been prepared to slightly write Jaecoo off after that terrible experience with the 7, but this feels like a step up that would have taken a European brand quite a long time to achieve. One thing that isn't quite so impressive, fuel efficiency. I've been driving not very far, to be honest, because I haven't got loads of time, but I'm averaging about 34 miles per gallon. So I imagine you might be able to get that closer to 40, but I've heard reports that this 1.6 petrol doesn't get that efficient in other cars. So yes, expect mid-30s to 40 if you're lucky, I would suggest. Okay, I'm afraid you've got a slightly wobbly camera for the outro, so I'm just going to do it here next to this nice slice of Sussex countryside. Let me just darken you down a bit. I've been really impressed by the Jaecoo 5 and the E5, certainly in the context of the Jaecoo 7 that I've been living with the past week. This is leaps and bounds ahead in terms of actual driving sensation and feel. It just feels like a proper car now, not one that's been sort of not tuned for European roads. So for £27,000 for a top spec petrol one, it feels like a really complete car in terms of kit. Yes, there are still software niggles. The beeping, the ADAS bongs is very annoying, but you can turn most of it off. Just the way you do it through the menus, it's still too cluttered, that infotainment system. That's a big negative. Also, the door shuts sound too tinny. It doesn't feel like a quality product when you first slam the door on it, which is a bit of a shame, because otherwise it looks and feels inside like a really nice car with all of the tech that you really want. So I'm going to give it 7 Tim Roadies out of 10. It is vastly improved over the Jaecoo 7, but still needs a little bit of work. But for 27 grand for the top spec petrol one, can't go too far wrong. The EV is good as well, just doesn't have the range or the fast charging capability that I would like to see. Anyway, thank you for watching this slightly disjointed video. If you liked it, give us a thumbs up, not up the bum, just on YouTube, and then subscribe to the channel of Nonsense and go down to the comments and in Chinese tell me how glad you are that my coat is back. See you next time.